Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome back to Formula Amateur. And today we are discussing the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in Jeddah, a high-speed circuit, which means that the race doesn't last very long, but it's still exciting, full of ups and downs. There were safety cars, there were crashes, there were dramatic positions in the terms of the FP1s, 2s, 3s and 4s, qualifying, there's no 4, and race. And let's get talking about Saudi Arabian 2025 race. Okay, so let's start with FP1, which was led by Pierre Gasly from Alpine, followed by Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, Albon, Russell, Sainz, Hamilton, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Lawson, Hülkenberg, Antonelli, Alonso, Hadjar, Doohan, Stroll, Behrman, Ocon and Bortoleto. Nothing eventful happened during FP1. There was a bit of sliding and slipping, but it's a very intense high-speed track that makes drivers lose control sometimes, but nobody ended up in a wall, which was good, but what you'll find is that this did not continue throughout the whole race weekend. Let's start doing something a little bit different. So now I'm going to tell you how much they changed compared to the previous session. So in FP2, Norris gained 1 spot, so he was first, and then Piastri gained 2, putting him in 2nd place. Verstappen gained 6 places to put him in 3rd. Leclerc lost a place and ended up in 4th. Sainz gained 2 places and put him in 5th. Tsunoda crashed but still ended up qualifying with the 6th best time and going up 4 places. And then Russell lost 1 place. Gasly lost 7 in 8th. In 9th there was Hülkenberg, he gained 3. Albon lost 5 places and put himself in 10th. Antonelli gained 2 places and put himself in 11th. Hadjar gained 3 places and put himself in 12th. Hamilton lost 5 and placed him in 13. Lawson lost 4 and ended up in 14th. And then Alonso lost 1, ended up in 15th. Behrman gained 3 places and ended up in 16th. Doohan lost 1 place and ended up in 17th. Stroll lost 1 place, ended up in 18th. Ocon was the same at 19th, and Bortoleto did not start the FP2 as he had a fuel leak in the car, so they were working throughout FP2 to sort that issue out for him, as it was too dangerous to drive. And then once they actually sorted it, it was too late to go through the scrutineering process, where an independent individual goes in and checks that everything is according to regulation. So we did not see him drive in FP2. Now we'll be comparing FP3 results to FP2. So Norris and Piastri stayed in 1st and 2nd place. And then Russell gained 4 places to end up in 3rd. Verstappen lost a place and ended up in 4th. Leclerc lost a place and ended up in 5th. In 6th we had Albon gained 4 places. Sainz lost 2 places in 7th. Gasly was the same in 8th. And then Tsunoda lost 3 and ended up in 9th. Antonelli gained 1 place and ended up in 10th. Hadjar gained 1 place and ended up in 11th. Hamilton gained 1 place and ended up in 12th. Lawson gained 1 place and ended up in 13th. Alonso gained 1 place and ended up in 14th. Doohan gained 2 places and ended up in 15th. Behrman was the same, stayed the same and was in 16th. Hülkenberg lost 8 places. That's the biggest change. Going for between FP2 and FP3, ended up in 17th. And then Ocon gained 1 place and ended up in 18th. Bortoleto ended up 1 place higher in 19th, remembering of course that he didn't actually take part in FP2, so he was automatically in 20th at that point. for FP2, and so in FP3 he was in 19th, and then Stroll lost 2 places and ended up in 20th. But nothing happened where anybody crashed or anything, just slipping and sliding. due to the nature of the track. On to quali now, and what we'll do here is go into the 3 quali sessions that occur. So we had Bortoleto qualified 20th, he lost 1 place, Ocon lost 1 place in 19th, Hulkenberg lost 1 place in 18th, Doohan lost 2 places and was in 17th, and Stroll gained 4 places and ended up in 16th. So all of them were out in the first quali session, so that's Bortoleto, Ocon, Hulkenberg, Doohan and Stroll were out there. And then in the second quali session, we had Behrman qualifying 15th, he gained 1 place, Hadjar in 14th place, he lost 3. Alonso gained 1 place and ended up in 13th, and then Lawson gained 1 place, he was in 12th. Albon lost 5 places and ended up in 11th. So we lost in Q2, we lost Behrman, Hadjar, Alonso, Lawson and Albon. And then in the third quali session, from 10 to 1, Norris lost 9 places and ended up in 10th. This was because he crashed out at the very beginning of Q3, which meant that he automatically qualified in the last place for the third session, which sets the final top 10. So he was pretty disappointed with that. He crashed and had to have at least 25 different parts replaced just so the car could move and be ready for the race the following day. Then in 9th we had Gasly, he lost 1 place, and then Tsunoda was in 8th, he gained 1 place. Hamilton gained 5 places and was in 7th. Sainz qualified 6th, he gained 1 place. Antonelli gained 5 places and ended up in 5th. Leclerc gained 1 place and ended up in 4th. Russell, no change there, he was in 3rd for FP3 and quali, and then Piastri was the same also as he was in FP3 and FP2 as well. So he qualified 2nd, and Verstappen gained 3 places, qualifying 1st. So now on to the actual race results. We had 18 drivers finish the race, and 2 had DNF'd within the first lap, and that was Tsunoda and Gasly. They just caught each other when they were trying to make a corner, and unfortunately it was a race incident. It was out of their control, but there seems to be no harm done in terms of their friendship, which is very important to them. There wasn't any harsh words exchanged from what the public can see. It was just one of those things. So we had in 18th place Bortoleto, he gained 2 places. Stroll started 16th, finished 16th. Hulkenberg gained 3 places, so he was in 15th. Ocon gained 5 places and ended up in 14th. Behrman gained 2 places and ended up in 13th. And then Lawson stayed the same as he started, so he qualified 12th, finished 12th. Alonso gained 2 places and ended up in 11th. Hadjar gained 4 places and ended up in 10th. Albon gained 2 places and ended up 9th. Sainz lost 2 places and ended up in 8th. Hamilton qualified 7th, finished 7th. Antonelli lost 1 place and ended up in 6th. Russell lost 2 places and ended up in 5th. Norris gained 6 places and ended up in 4th. Leclerc gained 1 place and ended up in 3rd. Verstappen lost 1 place due to a penalty, a 5-second penalty that he was given when both him and Piastri were trying to make the apex on the very first lap just before the double DNF of Tsunoda and Gasly, and as a result he had to take the 5-second penalty at his pit stop, which gave Piastri the chance to make it up into first, and then also Piastri pitted before Max did, so that also gave him an advantage to make it up to the top. And Verstappen, although he could catch up with everyone else, he could not catch up to Piastri, which means Piastri with a 1 place gained finished the race in first, and as a result he is the only driver to so far have won 3 races this season, and he is the championship leader. And now let's go into the side stuff, where we'll be discussing more details about the Piastri-Verstappen crash and talk about the driver lineup and teams in terms of championship points. Okay, so that Piastri-Verstappen fiasco, it went to the stewards, so they had a look to see what could be analysed if there's a penalty. Everyone thought that Verstappen would just be asked to swap places with Piastri, because what happened was they were trying to both make the apex, which is the turn, and they have to hit the curb in order to make the lap count, and Piastri made it but Verstappen didn't, and he went over the runoff area, which results in some sort of consequence, especially if you use it to your own advantage, which was the case. You cannot overtake someone on an apex and use a runoff to gain an advantage if it's not your apex to take. So as a result, Verstappen was given a 5-second penalty. It would have been a 10-second penalty had it not been the first lap, so he was given 5-second penalty to be done at his pit stop, where the mechanics are not allowed to touch the car for 5 seconds, and then they are able to do whatever they need, which is typically just change the tyres quickly and off you go. So it turns out that Red Bull was not happy with this whole situation. They wanted Verstappen to not get the penalty, but they also didn't tell him to swap places, because they probably knew that, you know, you have to keep him happy with all these rumours going around that he might change teams, he might be looking elsewhere, and then also with just the fact that they thought that they were in the right to do that, although from all accounts it seems like they were not. So Max Verstappen was not a very happy bunny after that. When he was seen in the cool down room where the drivers go after the race, right before they get their trophies, and they wave to the crowds and chuck champagne or rose water depending on which country you're in. That's when you've seen that he was not a happy bunny. I don't think he spoke anything in the cool down room, which is strange, because usually the cool down room is like a podcast itself, because they just have a right old natter in there, and it was just more of a conversation between Oscar and Charles, where, you know, they joked, because there was also an incident where Gabriel Bortoleto and Fernando Alonso almost crashed in the race, and that was especially controversial because Fernando Alonso is actually Gabriel Bortoleto's manager, so Oscar was joking that Bortoleto is not going to have a flight home at the end of the night, because his manager will probably not be very happy with what happened. But then it was more of a conversation between the winner of the race and a third place podium, because second place winner did not want to let out what he wants to say. Post race in interviews he really wasn't, and in the press conference he also wasn't giving much of anything either, basically saying that if he does say anything, or if he says what he wants to say, there'll be consequences, he'll be penalised for it, and he is not wanting to do that, because he knows that now the regulations say that if you are in some way putting the FIA in danger or in harm, or say anything bad about them, you may get a race ban, you may also get a fine, and then you also may lose championship points. And as someone who just won 4 championships in a row, you know, he doesn't want to lose those crucial points, even though he's not leading the championship at the moment, but he's you can't underestimate Max Verstappen. So now let's go into the drivers' standings. So Piastri overtook Norris in his with his points. So now Piastri has 99 points, Norris has 89, and then Verstappen has 87. So there's a 2-point gap between Verstappen and Norris, and then there's a 10-point gap between Norris and Piastri. And then in fourth we have Russell with 73, Leclerc with 47, Antonelli with 38, Hamilton with 31, Albon with 20, Ocon with 14, Stroll with 10, Gasly with 6, Hulkenberg with 6, Berman with 6, Hadjar with 5, Sainz with 5, Tsunoda with 5, and then Alonso, Lawson, Doohan and Bortoletto are yet to score. And the team standings, McLaren's on 188 points, Mercedes is on 111 points, Red Bull are on 89, Ferrari are on 78, Williams is on 25, Haas are on 20, Aston are on 10, Racing Bulls are on 8, Alpine are on 6, and Sauber are on 6 as well. So thank you so much for listening to me natter on about the Saudi Arabian race in Jeddah. What you'll find now is that there is a week's break between the next race in Miami, and I guess I'll let the cat out of the bag now and say that I'll be at the sprint and qualifying of the Miami race. So what you'll see coming up soon is a podcast from the Saturday at the race, and I'll go also into detail of what it was like, just so you're aware if you ever go to a Formula One race day or qualifying day, sprint day, whatever, what it might be like, especially in terms of what it's like in Miami. This will be my first ever race that I'm attending. I'm very excited. I'll have my wonderful best friend Keely with me, so I'll hopefully see you there, and I'll see you also on Saturday for the next podcast, where we'll be learning about more Formula One things. Don't forget to check out my lovely colleagues on the Be The Change Media Network. Buy some stickers on the BeTheChangeMediaNetwork.com website. Have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll see you on Saturday. Bye.